America is deeply divided. There are only two sides to every issue, and there is no interest in finding common ground, not even with members of your own family. But as the 2024 presidential election looms on the horizon, there has never been a more important time to have the necessary conversation. Today's show was recorded about 45 minutes before Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. We will cover that topic next week. Welcome to the Necessary Conversation. I'm Chad Kultgen. Today with me is my sister, Haley Pope, my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Is Dad there?
He's right there. He's
there he is in
waking
the
up.
chair. Is he asleep?
He's been up all night with Kitty. We had a terrible thunderstorm, and that little thing right there kept him up all night long.
All right. Well, we had a big week in politics. A lot happened. We're going to get to all of that. But before we do, Mom, do you want to do the listener question or do you want to play your song first?
Oh God, let's get the song done.
Okay.
Let me just state, Haley, have you heard my song?
No.
All
Okay.
right.
Wait. I gotta say,
Set it
number
up.
one, I can't sing. Number two, I had to practice this a lot because I don't half-ass anything. By the time I was done practicing, my voice was terrible. I ain't no Frankie Valli, but I did the best
Frankie
I could.
Valli.
Yeah, what?
Nice
Of all the
contemporary
singers?
reference.
I ain't no Frankie Valli,
Okay.
but I did the best I could.
All right.
And then Dad was getting tired of hearing it. He's going, yeah. So enjoy.
All
It's
right.
just for fun.
So that was the backstory to the song you're about to hear right now.
Oh God. Hello, brother Haley, brother Chad, brother Bob. Hi, brothers. Here we go. Oh, what a night. November 5th will truly be. What a special time for you and me. We will remember this night. Oh, what a night. So much change is now happening. Who will be the Democratic nominee? Toss a coin, let's see. Oh, I got a funny feeling Sleepy Joe's out the door. And poor space, you can't keep giving blowjobs anymore. No PJs, no more. Oh, one night, November 5th will truly be. What a special time in history. We'll remember this night. Blue will turn straight to red. Joe, you better get out of that bed. You'll be leaving just as fast as you can go home. Hey, don't forget to take your sun's glow a one night. November
Have a better
5th
copy of this.
will truly be. What a special time for you and me. We'll remember this night. Joe, Hunter no more. Give them the dim pardons and kick them out the door. Democrats now are showing their true hand, but we know who is the man.
It's the man.
Oh, what a night, November 5th will truly be. What a special time for you and me. We'll remember this in history. Now, I ain't no AI. This is MLK, and I can tell you why. That Trumpy bear is on his way.
Chad, do you have a
to be the
better
president of the US of A. Oh, what
This is what you sent me.
night. November 5th
I can do
will
it. That's
truly
mine.
be what a night for you and me. It will go down in history. Oh, what
Like
a
a
night.
10-minute long song.
Trump 2024.
Now listen, stop
Oh,
it,
yes.
stop it.
Trump
20 more
found
seconds.
2024.
It says Trump 2024 at the end.
No more
I have
Biden.
that,
Bye-bye.
and my recording
Trump.
is a lot better than that.
USA. The end.
Okay. Okay. When
So-
I have sent you these before, you
Yeah.
stop everything and play my thing that I sent you.
Yeah, I just did that. That's the exact
was-
file you sent me.
That was terrible. Okay.
Well, that's literally what you sent me. I don't know.
Well, I
That's
have
fine.
one that's not that bad.
Okay, well, that's the
And-
one you sent me, so that's the one I used. So this is about November 5th. This is about election night.
Yes. What
That's
a night
gonna
it
be
will
one
be.
night. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned in there Kamala Harris giving blowjobs. What was that about?
That's how she got her first job as was it Senator Bob?
No,
What was it?
district attorney.
District attorney.
I haven't heard that rumor, but okay. I
Okay.
guess you believe it.
Yes, I do.
Well, thank you, Mom, for that rousing opening to today's podcast.
I'm sad that you didn't rep me good. You didn't represent me good.
What do you mean?
My song was better than that on my
That's the
recording.
exact file you sent me. It's not better or worse. It's the exact thing you sent
Oh,
me.
God.
Okay,
All right.
let's move on now to a question from a listener. If you'd like to submit your questions to the Necessary Conversation, all you have to do is record them in a 1 minute or shorter audio or video format and send them to the necessaryconversationpod@gmail.com. Today, we have this question. Are you ready?
Ready.
Hey, Kultgen family. This question is for the kids. You talk a lot about how your parents encouraged you to play sports growing up, and that was a big part of your life. But I'm wondering how you both became such creative geniuses as adults. Did your parents encourage creativity as children, or was that not really a part of your childhood? What inspired this to come out later in life? Or were you always creative? Also wondering what episode of Chopped Haley was on, because I really want to watch it. Thanks. Love to you all.
All right. There you have it. Haley, what episode of Chopped were you on?
I was never on Chopped.
Oh.
I was going to say. I was on Halloween Wars season 9. I was on the first season of The Big Bait. And I was on the second season of a show called Cake-Alikes. All of these can be found like on YouTube, Discovery Plus, I think maybe Netflix. I'm not sure. You'll have to just like Google it. I don't fucking know. Let me answer that question.
Please do.
So Dad, I think, instilled in us a tremendous work ethic. You are number one or you're fucking last.
Yeah.
So
There is no number 2.
we definitely grew up like competing was key. Being number one was the only acceptable way. And so I have kind of just like adopted that as a mantra my entire life. Creativity, I think, maybe comes from mom. I'm not sure, but I mean, definitely I was always drawing in a sketchbook, painting. I went to college actually for apparel design. So I don't know. I mean, I think we're maybe just both innately creatives. And that comes out for me now in like I'm writing a book, I'm doing a cookbook, I'm into photography. I don't know. There's just a part of me that I think is innately needing to create something on a constant fucking basis. It's the only thing that I'm like a shark. If I stop, I die. So I don't know if that's innate. I don't know if that's dad, mom. It could be all nature, nurture. But I have like a compulsion to just continuously fucking be number one, strive for the best, always create. I cannot fucking stop. I don't know.
All right. For me, the question was, did mom and dad foster our creativity or not? And for me, it was kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes, yes. Like I remember you guys bought me a guitar one year for my birthday. I remember paid for me to go take comic book drawing lessons in Denton from a guy named Sonny Strait. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so
We
some
went to
things,
that man's house.
yeah, we did go to that man's house. There was another comic book artist, I forget his name,
Comic
that
strip.
that
The
did stuff
comic
for the
strip.
Dallas Morning News. Yeah.
Hmm.
So there were little moments of it, but then there were also things like I can vividly remember driving to a Texas Rangers game with Dad, reading a book in the car, and him yelling at me for reading because we were on our way to see baseball and you shouldn't be reading, or wanting to learn how to play the piano and told that that is, in Dad's terms, not manly. We'll simply say that, certain things of this nature. So I don't know. It's kind of a 50-50 split
I
on that.
I think for me, everything I wanted to do was nurtured.
Hmm.
I would ask to, I don't know. I mean, we played sports, and so that was like dad's fucking,
Yeah, we
you
didn't have a
know,
choice in that either. That
yeah,
was happening, period.
yeah. Although I am grateful for it now, I do think it taught me a lot of lessons that I now implement in my daily life. But,
Sure.
I wanted to be a fashion designer. They bought me a sewing machine. They would take me to Joann's to get fabric. Uh, so I feel like all the things that I wanted to do was definitely nurtured. Um, Sketchbooks, buying expensive paints and pens, and I don't know, anything I wanted to do, they said yes. So I feel like for me it was they definitely, dad and mom, kind of said like, all right, you want to give that shit a go, let's do
Mm.
it. But you're also gonna play softball for 9 hours today.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I feel like
yeah,
I was some of my things were like I won't say encouraged. They were tolerated and maybe financially supported. Some of my early creative
yeah,
endeavors, but then some things were not. Like I said, piano was a just a no,
Oh my
outright
God.
no, because I think it didn't uphold the version of like what a man should be. At least that Dad thought what it was. But you also were the second child, so
yeah.
obviously they're more lenient
And
with you.
I also know now as a parent, like the sacrifices that mom and dad made for us, the fucking money that you have to pump into the shit that your kids want to do. So I think being a parent has given me a different perspective of how much mom and dad loved us,
Yeah.
and all the things that they did for us, because it's not something that you just think about all the time. But I'm now like so aware that, like, oh fuck, all that shit we did, that cost money, that cost time,
Hmm.
and dad lived and breathed our fucking sports.
Yeah.
He was our coach. He would take us to practice. Like, we had to practice like
Every day. He
every
would come home from
waking.
work and then take us out
Yes,
to the baseball field and hit a
it was
thousand
like,
ground balls at your ass against a
yes,
backstop. And if you missed
yeah,
one, you were getting fucking yelled at all the way home.
yeah. I mean, it's like a weird fucking dichotomy, but ultimately,
Okay.
I think that's how he showed he loved us, and it was
Yeah.
just like a sheer fucking dedication to, you will be number one, and I will fucking get you there. It was
Right.
every waking moment.
Yeah.
Let me say this about the artsy fartsy creativity. Chad at 2 years old would sit in a grocery cart as I would grab the cans and the bread and the groceries. And in the grocery cart, he would have a comic book at 2 years old and read the comic book. Not read it, but look at it. Okay.
Sure.
That's where the creativity started. Then he would come home. I'd give him a deal of crayons. By himself, he would do artwork at about 2.5, 3 years old, and he would
Hmm.
do it for 40 minutes. Haley, you were the same. You like to be creative. You like to draw. I never told you no. I let you do it. Both of you.
Mhm. I remember being at that house on fucking in Carrollton. What was that? Kings Point?
Yeah.
Remember that
1920
house?
Kings Point.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
mom
the
was always
assassination
doing
coordinates of another family now.
mom was
No.
doing like mom was doing like weird arts and crafts and hanging it on the wall and shit.
With
Like, you'd
tennis
spray paint
rackets.
tennis
Tennis
rackets and what, I
rackets.
don't know. Like, we kind of grew up in a household, I think, where that was nurtured. Be
Yeah.
creatives. They
We
bought
To
you a
some
put,
degree.
camera to make all your movies and shit, your
oh,
stop
yeah.
motions.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I definitely feel like it was nurtured. Whatever we wanted, they said yes.
But I
Guys,
mean, I wouldn't
I have
say
an art
nurtured.
degree. Come
Like
on.
it was tolerated and maybe like funded, but it wasn't ever like, oh, let me see what movie you're making. What's going? Let's sit around as a family and watch it. It was like we were just kind of left to do these things. And if you wanted a camera for your birthday or you wanted a guitar or whatever, fine. but it wasn't ever like, oh, let me help you. Like, let's do this together. There was nothing like that ever happening.
It wasn't pushed. Like, get in the fucking car. We're going to go hit 100 ground balls. It was never pushed like that.
Exactly.
But, they didn't say no.
Yeah, except to piano for me.
I don't
You
remember
can learn
that.
now.
Yeah, I have been. And now I don't even need to learn because of AI.
We didn't have a piano, but yeah.
Yeah.
No,
At any
I'm
rate.
grateful for it.
No, me too. Me too. I think, as parents, you guys were much more indulgent than other parents probably are in terms of like kids.
We did the best we could.
Of course. But I hope that answers your question. And again, anybody out there, if you want to send in a question, you just record it in a 1 minute or shorter audio or video format. Email it to the necessary conversation pod@gmail.com. Now, let's get into these issues. We had a huge week in politics. The biggest one is the RNC. Now, I have nothing formally prepared here. I just wanted to kind of go down the line and talk about some of your favorite moments or the moments that were the most important or the biggest, starting with Hulk Hogan. Mom, Dad, what did you think of Hulk Hogan's speech, his intro to Trump?
Well, wasn't all that whooping.
Look at your toes going.
Talk to you
Yes, that
next
was
week.
one of, I liked it a lot. I loved when he ripped his shirt open and
Yeah.
underneath was a Trump Vance. Now, was that corny? Yeah. Was Kid Rock corny? Oh my God. Kid Rock was ridiculous.
Mhm.
Then they'd pan it out to the white people, the old white people out there trying to jive to Kid Rock. No, that was ridiculous. But, the message from Hogan was good. I liked it. I did like it.
But just the idea of having a pro wrestler introducing what is meant to be a serious presidential candidate, we are starting to go into the arena of Idiocracy. If you've ever seen that movie, it's about
That is exactly, yes.
It's a Mike Judge movie about a near future where a literal pro wrestler becomes the president and America is in disarray as everybody is stupid and nobody knows at that point in that movie even how to grow crops because they're putting Gatorade on it.
But that Ultimate Fight champion guy, Dana White, he'd been friends with Trump for 25 years. Why could he? What's wrong with him introducing him? Nothing.
Dana White's a different story. Dana White's a businessman.
He was awesome.
Sure. I'm not talking about Dana White. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan. What are you going to do when the Trumpites run wild on you? And he's calling them Trumpites. Yeah. Have you ever been called a Trumpite? Do you accept that moniker?
No. That was a little weird. It was a little different, but a little different. Who cares? It was entertaining. I think it was entertainment.
Yeah. Haley?
It's all Jesus. It is so embarrassing that this is what it's come to. I started watching clips on TikTok it was like John McCain and Obama, like that kind of era where they were giving their own speeches. And McCain was, in the audience and he handed the microphone to one of the people that wants to vote for him. And she started bad mouthing Barack Obama, calling him an Arab and all these things. Yeah. John McCain literally takes the microphone and says, "You're talking about a really decent, good man. He is not what you're saying. These are not accurate statements. He is a good, decent man. We simply have different fucking campaigns and a different way that we want to run this country." And then it shows Barack Obama doing the exact same thing. Like John McCain is a fucking upstanding, so, all these things. And so we've gone from somewhat a democracy where these men respect each other. We feel good about the candidates. Either way, like even if John McCain would have won, I don't know if I would have been pissed or anything. I didn't like fucking hate him. We went from a time where like both candidates were viable options. If your opposing fucking candidate won, I mean, not thrilled, but also not going to start a fucking dumpster fire in the streets. So watching something like Hulk Hogan rip his fucking shirt open, it's just so fucking dumb. And the audience running wild with their ear patches. Like, this is where we're at. This is how fucking stupid half the country is.
Okay.
And it blows my mind. The whole fucking thing was just like, what the fuck? And then the Botox in the eyebrows. Like, the whole fucking thing, dude. Kid Rock coming out. I'm motherfucking Kid Rock. This is the RNC.
Yeah.
All right.
Fucking dumb.
No.
Like,
And
just stupid.
I
Yeah.
knew you guys were going to rip that part of the convention apart.
Mm-hmm.
But within that funny stuff that they added, that was entertainment. Did you watch the night when they introduced the Gold Star families?
Yeah.
Did you, Haley?
I
Yeah.
watched most of it.
Okay. That was not fun. They said the names
Okay.
of the
That
ones.
has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
There was good parts of that convention,
But
and then there were funny parts.
Sure, but the funny part's like you have to look at it from outside of the Trump bubble, even outside of the United States. When other serious countries and politicians and governments that we are either aligned with or at war with or whatever, when they are looking at this,
already laughing at Biden. What the fuck are you talking about?
when they're looking at this and they see Hulk Hogan ripping
Yeah,
his shirt off.
That ship sailed 3 years ago.
Okay, go ahead.
All right,
Tom.
let's just talk about Trump's speech then. It was 90 minutes. There's a pretty wide consensus, even among right-wingers, that it started off pretty good, all right, powerful, on message. Then it turned into a meandering, incoherent mess
Best
when
guy
he went off script and off message.
The 98-year-old veteran.
Dad wants to say something. Go.
Okay.
The 98-year-old veteran says it all. It's all you got to know. If you haven't seen that, go back and fucking look at it.
Well, paraphrase it. What did he say?
Quit being mean.
He was a Silver Star and 2 Bronze Star winner. He stormed the beaches at Normandy, and he was also on the march to Bastogne and the Battle of the Bulge. He's 98 years old, and he said he would join the army again if Trump was president.
Patriotism.
So, if Trump's president, we'll have an army of 98-year-old men?
No, he's willing to re-enlist and do it all again.
Patriotism. So
he's willing to die for the country.
All right. So let me get back to this point real quick.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with your bullshit Hulk Hogan.
Okay. Go ahead.
Then why was Hulk Hogan there?
Entertainment.
It got nothing to do with me.
It was entertainment.
So let's get to Trump's speech then. 90 minutes long. As I was saying, almost everyone agrees that it started off pretty good and he was supposed to have a message of unity, but then somewhere around the 20-minute mark, he just goes off script and the message of unity decays into him calling Nancy Pelosi crazy. He's relying on the debunked conspiracy theories that the 2020 election was fraudulent. He called for the firing of the head of the United Auto Workers.
He's also a criminal.
He's talking about the China virus, the invasion at the southern border. He called Democratic Senator a total lightweight. He even brought up again the late, great Hannibal Lecter, as though Hannibal Lecter is a real person, which I think he thinks he was. The speech was a mess. What did you guys think of it?
Okay. Did you watch it all?
Yes.
Okay. I thought the first part was good, like you said. I didn't think the middle was that bad, but I thought he went too long. It could have been a little shorter, but you know what? He's the man. That's the reason that that was happening. He could stand up there all night if he wanted, but it did go too long. And I just think on Thursday night, or Wednesday night, even, he had a different feeling looking at him. He's thankful to be alive.
So he said, and he also invoked God, that God turned his head and he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah,
Fauci
said it was nothing but a superficial wound. Fauci.
Did you hear that?
Fauci can go rot to fucking hell for me.
God. Fauci said it was nothing but a superficial wound, like no big deal. Dad
That's
said,
true.
Oh, okay. And a millimeter, it was no big deal. Let's see one of you guys stand up there and get shot in the ear, and it's no big deal.
If I got shot in the ear like that, where it is a superficial wound, it would be no big deal. I would have a giant white square of cloth on my ear to make sure everybody knows I was injured.
That's right.
And that would be that. He didn't appear to be changed by it in any way, not physically, certainly. He's not hindered by it.
I thought he did look like he was changed, like, thank God I'm alive.
Mm-hmm. I don't
Yeah,
think
I do.
anything phases him.
The
But
fact somebody tried to fucking kill him ought to be what you're talking about, not how bad the wound is.
well, let's talk about the you guys are very much, I feel like, in kind of the victim mentality of like Trump was assassinated and you shouldn't talk ill of it. That's been kind of a big rallying
right.
point over the course of this week, is that
That's
Republicans are
right.
coming out and saying if you even
That's
make a joke about it,
100% right.
like
Quit
Jack
yelling.
Black's
Oh my God.
partner
Yeah.
in
Like,
Tenacious D,
what
Kyle
the
Gass made a joke about it on stage.
Right.
Jack Black brought out a birthday cake for him and said, "What's your wish?" And his wish was that he didn't miss next time. Blows out the candles. Jack Black calls off the show. They disband Tenacious D because he's got to distance
Good.
himself from
He
that
That's
should have
attitude.
been.
Yeah.
That's
No,
Okay.
that was
terrible.
ridiculous.
Well,
that was
now-
absolutely ridiculous.
Now let me ask you guys, Dad specifically, you're calling for genocide almost every one of these podcasts we do.
Yes.
You have said that you would throw a Palestinian baby in the air and shoot it before it hits the ground.
Palestinians, kill them all.
Right. So, with that attitude, why are we not then allowed to have a similar kind of like,
Because you live in America. So shut up.
all right,
Tell you don't live here anymore. You keep your mouth shut.
what? Well, I thought America was about freedom of speech. Aren't you a big proponent of that?
There is no freedom of speech anymore.
Okay. I don't know what to make of anything you're saying now. It's a little incoherent.
Good.
I do think when Trump talked about
You'll figure it out someday when it'll be too late.
when Trump talked about the exact moment when the bullet hit him and what happened, that was truth. I
Yeah.
think that was good that he told us all what happened, because you know what? We're never going to know why, how this, why, who was
Because
involved.
It was a hit job by the fucking Secret Service.
Okay, quit yelling. We're never going to know. This will go down in history.
We do know. I don't understand.
What do we know?
This kid, didn't it say on the internet that this kid was also like kind of gunning for Biden as well? That he was thinking
No.
about getting
No.
both of
He
them?
had three fucking foreign accounts with money in it from different foreign countries. Most of them, one of them was Qatar.
We're not for
I
sure.
haven't
They
read
said
that
what the.
information.
Mm-mm.
Oh yes, he had three
He got
foreign.
paid. He got
God,
paid.
quit yelling.
What was his name? James Crooks, right?
Yes, he had three different foreign encrypted accounts. But what they're saying is they're not for sure if it was financial, if it was social, because there was a hit supposedly from Iran on Trump. So we're not going to know. This is all hearsay. Nobody knows what's going on.
But you really think that like a viable option, all this money, all these people involved, you think they're going to hire a fucking kid to get up on the roof and do this?
He was called
the shooting. He did some shooting, but he's not the one that probably hit Trump.
He was the patsy.
That was a Secret Service agent inside the building.
Dad thinks Secret Service were the ones that took the shots at him, and that this kid was the patsy, maybe. But we're never going to know. We're never going to know. They're going to seal this up the way they sealed up JFK's thing. We're never going to know.
This is saying that it's not confirmed.
Oh, hell no.
Republican congressman claims Trump shooter Thomas Crook had 3 encrypted accounts overseas and hints at Iranian plot as FBI continues to investigate.
See?
It says the FBI is seeking to get access to these 3 encrypted accounts based overseas,
believe the
allegedly
FBI.
belonging to Donald Trump's attempted assassin. I don't know if this is real or not. We'll have to see. All right, let's move on to a simmer down. I can hear Dad's riled up over there, so I thought we'd do a fun one today. I want each of us to talk about and remember, and maybe even get his perspective on, a funny story that involves Dad. So, I have this one memory, and I don't know all the details because, Mom, I think you were there and I was not. But I remember you telling me at one point, Dad, you were in a movie theater and Dad sat on a woman.
Huh?
Do you remember this? He sat in her lap accidentally.
I don't remember this.
I'm trying to think.
You guys have no memory of this?
Uh-uh.
The story was you were in a movie and he went up to get to pee or something and he came back and he just didn't realize there was a woman sitting in the chair, thought it was his chair, and he just sat directly in a woman's lap.
I do faintly remember it, but I don't remember where we were.
All right. I got one that I'll never forget.
Well, I thought that'd be way funnier. I wanted the details of it, but you don't even remember it.
I have one that I think none of us will forget.
Okay.
We were eating at a Long John Silver's, I
Oh,
think.
I know this one.
Dad has to take a shit, goes into the bathroom, is in there for a while. A guy comes out with his fucking hat turned around backward, like he just fucking
Sideways.
died. Yeah,
Yeah,
sideways.
like he
Like
got hit in
something
the
has
head with a fucking
really
2x4.
he got hit with a bomb.
But it wasn't.
And
It was Dad went in, took the shit, came out, and was like, "That was a
yeah.
bad one" or whatever. Then a Long John
And
Silver's guy walked in, and it was almost like a cartoon. Like the door was swinging,
yeah.
and he just came
And
right
he's
back
like,
out, and he was like,
oh.
"Oh."
Yeah, he was like disoriented and like hat on sideways. Dad blew up the fucking Long John Silver's bathroom.
Which was frequent. When we ate Long John Silver's, he usually had to shit very bad almost immediately.
I miss those hush puppies. No lie.
He also blew up a house once. Not blew up the house from his thing when he went into the bathroom, where everyone in
What?
that house had to get
Yeah,
in
what?
cars and leave. That was at Paula's.
They had to
remember?
get their cars and leave. They couldn't just go
Yes.
out in the front yard. They had to leave
Yes.
the area.
Had to leave. They got in cars and left. That one was that bad.
I guess it's just turning
We
into
got
Dad's
in
shit
the
stories. Did we
Bonneville,
already
wasn't
discuss
it?
on this
It was
podcast
my
when
mom
he
and-
shit in the yard of somebody on his way back from trying to change a tire?
Yes,
We've talked about that one.
That's been talked about.
No, did you poop on that one? No. He held it in so bad that when he got home, he like almost died. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he shit in a yard.
No.
All right. What's your funniest story of Dad, Mom?
I would have to say that night that I had to walk home with him after the tire thing, where we had to go blow your tire up, and we had to walk home because we couldn't get the car to go or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his stomach was cramping so bad, he would like go over and go, oh. I say, you can make it. Let's go. You can make it. He'd have to go 10 more steps.
He still does shit like that, like on the sugar-free candies and stuff. A
Oh,
lot of the comedies surrounding Dad like deals with shit.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? This morning, he walks past me and lets out this biggest noise. I go, really? Really? I go, what is that from? And he goes, the candy bar you bought me. I bought him 3 candy bars. They were $3 for $1 at the grocery store. It had maltitol in it. I said, how many did you eat? He ate all 3 last night at 2 a.m.
Gotta be done. Do you remember when Dad almost cut off his finger in the kitchen when we lived in Amarillo on the house on Linda? How am I the only one remembering this shit?
He said he remembered.
I was cutting an apple, or you were, Mom. You were cutting an apple, but with like a paring knife. And he swipes the apple and goes, let me show you how to cut a fucking apple. And he takes out like a butcher knife and just whacks the apple, but accidentally hucks right into his hand, and there's just blood everywhere immediately. You don't remember that?
No,
there's a reoccurring theme with Dad that's always funny, where like, you know, if something happens and it isn't done right, he can suddenly perform that or do that better than the professionals. And what was the I can perform a hysterectomy? What was that story? I can't. He said something about like, what I could fucking perform a hysterectomy better than.
I had a hysterectomy back in like 99 or whatever, and they did mess up some nerve damage in one of my legs. Since that point forward, he has always sworn that he can perform every operation better than anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Dad, let's turn it to you. What is a funny story from your life that you find funny?
Well, it was funny when I had it crap and had to walk 3 miles home. But
yeah.
It wasn't funny then.
Right.
How about,
but other than the ones we've talked about, do you have any other memory from your life that you find particularly funny that's kind of about you?
The fire in the priest car.
Yeah, like you've told us stories about when you were young about like, you know, I don't know if this is funny. It's kind of funny, I guess, but you were a fucking little bit of a delinquent, like breaking windows and nuns slapping your hands with rulers and shit. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's what Mom was talking
about. The flagpole, too.
I set the priest's car on fire one time.
At the flagpole.
We were given a funeral on a Saturday morning, and
Quit rocking.
we got done, and I was going to throw the hot coals out in the snow, and the wind blew them back in on Father Barr's car seat. Put a hole in it, so I covered it up with a seat belt. Then about 2 or 3 days later, he asked me who had the incense at the funeral. It was me.
Okay, 5th grade, he got in so much trouble. In the 5th grade, there was this little store, maybe 3 blocks down the way, called Brant's and Bogart's. He decided to
I'd go get candy.
He'd go get candy during school.
Mm-hmm.
So like the nuns weren't watching him. He'd sneak out the door, go down, get candy, come back. Then she'd say, "Where have you been?" "I was in the bathroom." "Okay." Well, he got caught. From that point forward, his desk was by the nuns every day. And you were moved to the 5th grade room when you were in the what, 3rd grade?
No, I was moved in the 8th grade room when I was in the 5th grade.
Oh, because he was so bad. He
Right.
put bicycles up the flagpole.
No, on the fire escape, so they couldn't get out.
Oh, on the fire escape, so people couldn't get out when they did the fire alarm.
So you're performing
Arson.
petty crimes at a young age, and
yes.
but
He
now
used to
you're
Okay.
against that type of thing.
Here's one. He would take a toothpick, several little box of toothpicks to school. As the nuns were not looking, he would split the toothpick into a little V, and then as they'd come by, he'd flick them up and put them up in her hat. Hit her with toothpicks.
The old toothpick hat trick.
Didn't you?
I made darts out of them. They had needles and feathers.
Oh,
Jesus. You're making weapons as well as a child?
Well,
Yeah.
you did too. Let's be real. You were soaking fucking blow darts in Tabasco sauce to try to hurt people.
But
and
I
set
didn't
them
make
on
the
fire.
blow dart gun. Those were purchased
Oh, okay.
from
Okay.
professional weapons makers. All right. Well, that was kind of fun. I really am sad you don't remember the time that Dad sat on a woman in a movie theater.
I don't remember that. That's weird.
That is weird.
How old were you, Chad?
It was when I was in college, I believe.
Weird.
All right, well, let's move on. Now we've lightened the mood to some degree. Now let's bring back the heaviness and talk about something that happened in the RNC. Trump announced his running mate, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a senator from Ohio, and I just want to read some quotes from him. This is from a 2016 Charlie Rose interview. "I'm never a Trump guy. My God, what an idiot." Vance questioned in a Facebook message in 2016 whether Trump could be America's Hitler, in quotes. He also wrote an op-ed for the New York Times called "Why Trump's Anti-War Message Resonates with White America." In that article, he said, Mr. Trump, quote, "Mr. Trump is unfit for our nation's highest office." He said in an NPR interview, "I can't stomach Trump, and I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place. I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton." This is his vice presidential nominee. What do you guys think of J.D. Vance, Mom and Dad?
Unity. So now
I think he'll be fine.
I think he's going to be good. Unity.
Okay.
He'll be your president for 8 years after Trump.
Well, let me ask you this. Just last week, you were saying that like one of the problems with the assassination attempt is that people are comparing Trump to Hitler, and that gives the wrong idea that he needs to be killed. J.D. Vance is one of those people.
No,
he called him Hitler.
That was years ago. He said that.
Okay.
Unity.
That's not what he says now.
I wish you would watch his movie too. That we did watch the movie.
What movie?
It's pretty good. It's really good. I don't care.
They're gonna win by a landslide. You might as well just get used to it.
No, I mean, so you guys don't care that he actually very clearly doesn't like Trump and he's just doing this for political gain?
Don't give a rat's fucking ass.
You can change your mind. People.
He hasn't. He hasn't.
Who hasn't?
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance
Yes,
is just
He's doing all of this for political gain.
Yeah, he's like
lying.
any other political snake. He's like another Mike Pence.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Never watched the movie.
The minute, like, if Trump does something terrible and and it's all over the news. He will be the first to turn coat. Fuck Trump.
Good.
No
We'll
doubt.
see if you're right or wrong.
Yeah, we'll see who's right and
Okay.
wrong. I think
Is
you're
JD
wrong.
Vance the person you guys wanted him to pick as his running mate?
It didn't matter. I would have rather had Bo Donaldson, but I'm okay with him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
after I read his background, I'm okay with him too.
all right.
Marine, how he grew up,
Mhm.
what happened in his life.
But
his
you're
mother
saying
his mother being there, that she was, an addict her whole life.
but
He
part of
came
his
from a bad
background,
background.
sure. But if you're putting his background as part of his character, part of his background is hating Donald Trump.
Not hating him his whole life.
He compared him to Hitler.
He didn't like what he stood for.
And
But
I'm fine with that.
people can change their minds.
Okay, so his
Donald
background
Trump
then
can be
doesn't
Hitler
matter.
for all I care.
People can change their minds.
So you're just completely discounting the fact that he called Trump Hitler.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Interesting. Haley, what do you think about this?
He, like I said, he's just another sleazy politician. It's all to get ahead. It's all for gain. I believe that all politicians are that way. They'll do anything they have
Yeah.
to get where they want to get. And he's doing that right now. He's falling in line because he knows this will potentially get him in a better position. It's literally that easy.
I agree with you, and I would bring up this point as well. The RNC had some very notable absences. One, Mike Pence, the most recent
That's
Republican
fine.
vice president, is not there. Mitt
That's
Romney is not there. Paul Ryan is
rhinos.
not there.
They're
These-
rhinos.
Right, you call them rhinos, but I think a lot of people believe that's the true Republican Party, or at least before Trump completely took it over. Now
They
the
still
only
have a
people,
little bit of integrity left. They still
Yeah,
got a little bit of
exactly.
integrity left.
a little bit of integrity, and they won't show up. And instead, you have someone like JD Vance, who has, again, openly
Fuck
said
it.
Donald Trump is Hitler,
Yep.
now bending the knee and, House of the Dragon
Yeah.
style, kissing that ring,
That's
doing
the
whatever he
grossest
has
kind.
to. What's that?
That's the grossest kind of politician. You literally have
Yeah.
nothing left. Like you're just a fucking snake.
People
You're
can
just-
change their minds. He's not a snake, and he will be your vice president. So get real.
Get real.
So get real. Well, why do you think that these so-called rhinos didn't show up? Not invited?
They weren't fucking invited, you stupid shit.
Dad said they
and
weren't
why
invited.
weren't they invited?
Because they're fucking assholes.
Because they're Democrats more than Republicans, and they don't agree with what Trump is doing.
They
But-
I
ruined
think
the
it's
Okay.
whole
because
show.
they still believe in democracy is
Oh.
what is why they
Oh,
weren't
is that
invited.
right?
Well, if they
They
did, then
still
Pence
have a
would have.
shred of just like fucking rational thought left.
That doesn't even make sense.
The Republican
to me.
Party, at least as it was when
Oh,
we
okay.
were growing up, and even really up until I would
Move
say,
on.
huh? What'd you
Go
say?
ahead. Nothing. Go ahead.
Even up until really, I would say Bush 2 was kind of the last one in terms of Republican presidential candidates. But there used to be, like Haley's saying, an adherence to the idea of American politics that yes, there is a two-party system, but that there is integrity in democracy, in the system itself, in the peaceful transfer of power. Trump has obliterated that by, again, as I mentioned in his speech, continuing to spout these lies about how the election was stolen, et cetera, et cetera. And so now the entire Republican Party, for me, this was like the big takeaway from the RNC. There ain't no Republican Party anymore. It is Trump's weird little
Correct.
world where anything he
Well,
says
welcome to the
must be
real world.
reparroted as truth, even though it's blatant lie. And anyone in his orbit will now do that. He has no one that is trying to keep him from basically destroying democracy in his
In true
immediate sphere.
fucking dictator form.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
that's what's going
No.
on here.
Yay
We're
for our
we're
side.
just shy of like a fucking Sieg Heil on stage. Like it's
I know.
gonna come. I just feel it. It's gonna come. And that's
I
where
agree.
we're at.
Yeah.
What about the CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity company? Anybody want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can. I don't think that was like politically motivated. I think it was just we live in a very connected world. Everything is run on computers and the internet, and if something fucks up every once in a while, this is going to happen.
Mhm.
But CrowdStrike.
Why does it always happen to the right?
But CrowdStrike
Our airports are now the right?
No,
What?
They always are against the right.
Are you talking about the IT outage? What are we talking about here?
Yes.
Okay. So that affected hospitals and airports, and how are those right or left?
In the 2020 election.
CrowdStrike
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Listen.
I'm listening.
They gotta run in your mouth.
CrowdStrike back in 2019, Comey swore under testimony that they were involved in the DNC servers of that election. They own those. So CrowdStrike owned those servers that counted during the election. Now, just recently, that company laid off some people that were disgruntled, whatever. Do you think maybe they went back in and made all those airplanes stop and everything crazy in the whole world? Do you think during that election, someone could have come up to one of the 7,000 employees and said, hey, I'll give you $2 million if you take all those votes away from Trump and give them to Biden?
That didn't happen. There have been numerous investigations launched into the 2020 election, many of them led by Republicans. None of them found any evidence of wrongdoing. None of them. Zero.
They never do. They never do.
Well, but then you just say that. Look, you perpetuate these conspiracies that like, well, don't you think it's the same? This company has a computer. This company has a computer. Don't you think this computer could have done a computer thing in 2020? They have thoroughly investigated that election, the integrity of it, from both sides of the aisle.
Who has investigated?
That's saying who did. Who investigated?
Okay,
Chad's Googling.
Corrupt FBI?
Yeah.
Or was it Merrick Garland?
Or was
it DOJ?
Or was it the head of our Secret Service that won't talk to anybody? Yeah.
Your investigation is worthless.
No. Google 2019 when Comey under oath testified
that he was the head of the FBI at the time.
That CrowdStrike did have involvement with the DNC servers. All I'm saying
widespread election fraud claims by Republicans don't match the evidence. There is minimal evidence to suggest that the few fraudulent votes.
Of course. According to who?
I'm literally trying to read it to you.
Okay. Go ahead.
In Georgia, Heritage has reported no cases of fraud in the 2020 or 20. Heritage, which is a company that looks into this stuff, I guess.
Run by the DNC, yeah.
All I'm
Associated
saying
Press, Washington Poll. I mean, the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, that means a right-wing think tank, has been monitoring election fraud cases state by state. They have found no evidence that there has been any election fraud in the 2020 or 2022 midterm elections.
None whatsoever.
You're asking me who it is. I'm telling you it's the Heritage Foundation. That is a right-wing think tank.
To me, I'm getting scared.
No, hang on a minute, Mom. This is evidence from a right-wing think tank. There is no election fraud in 2020. What do you say to that, Dad?
I say it's full of shit.
He said it's full of shit.
But you understand then that you will never accept factual information if it goes against your idea of what happened.
That is correct.
Okay, so then you understand what you're saying is all of your opinions are not based on facts.
I don't know.
They're not facts.
It just scares me to think that
made up bullshit.
That could have happened, I guess.
But it didn't.
Yes, exactly. It did not happen.
And it has never happened. Historically, it has never happened. But for whatever reason, MAGA.
No, not for whatever reason. It's Donald Trump's game plan is to hammer down the throats of his followers that the election was a fraud, that he actually won, so that you again feel victimized, and now you've got to reclaim your birthright or whatever.
I guess I shouldn't have brought it up. Thank you, Cloud Lady. That's all I'm going to say. She knows what I'm talking
Okay.
Thank you,
Let's
Cloud Lady.
let's move on to our last topic today, which is Joe Biden. Is he stepping down or not? Now, reports
Byron.
were running wild at the end of last week that
Well,
what's he say?
he said he was going to step down. Said he was going to do it by this weekend. It's fucking.
There's a
That's
guy
literally
that
what I
said,
was about to say. Is that
okay,
all these
let
reports were
Chad
coming out at
talk.
the end of last week saying that he was going to step down by the end of this weekend. We are recording this on Sunday at about 11 a.m. Pacific time. He still has not stepped down. There are all kinds of rumors swirling, and the real problem here is if he does drop out between now and when he's scheduled to be the nominee in August at the DNC, it could create this kind of free for all among all the Democrats since there's really no mechanism in place for an event like this. It takes a majority of roughly 4,000 pledged delegates to win the party's nomination at the convention. Biden has already won 3,900 of them in primaries, and if he steps down, he basically has to release all those delegates. Then there has to be a new system put in place to get another candidate, which at this point it looks like would be Kamala Harris. She then would have to get those 4,000 delegates. And other people can throw their name in the ring as well to maybe get those
Yes.
delegates. It all
Yeah.
seems like it's a very rushed process if he steps down now, and it will seemingly result in chaos within the Democratic Party. So
Yeah, they're.
even if you have somebody come out of that who is the next nominee, are they going to have enough juice to stand against Donald Trump? Will Donald
No.
Trump accept the debate with that person? Probably not.
No.
So I don't
No.
know. Biden could be waiting too long here, and even if he steps down at this point, it could be disaster. So, Mom, Dad, are you hoping that he steps down or not?
No.
Dad doesn't want him to because
Okay.
we'll beat him for sure.
I agree with that.
thought maybe I thought he's probably in the background and they're getting all their pardons and they're getting all their like no one can ever be taken down and their big cash, their big sack of money, and they're not getting their way. That's what Dad thinks. That's why they're still holding ground.
Mhm.
They're asking for all that and not getting it, so they're still holding ground. But then, like in the news, Pelosi says, "Don't back Kamala. Just don't let her take it." In the news, I've been hearing Hillary. Wouldn't that be something? But then she would. There's
Slam dunk.
that'd be a slam dunk too. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got so much stuff in her closet. I don't think she would come back out. I think any way you want to look at it, whoever they put out there, Trump's going to beat them.
The goner.
I don't know. I don't know that you're right. I think if there is fresh blood, someone who has not Hillary, not Kamala Harris, I do think if there is fresh blood who has any kind of political background in the Democratic Party, that they have a chance to beat Donald Trump. Because I
Name
am
one.
literally just chomping at the fucking bit for like
Name one.
anyone that
Name
can
one.
deliver. I can't.
I can.
There is
Gavin
none.
Newsom.
All
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Look at your
Yeah.
state. How do you like that state? What's going on there?
Huh?
Who?
How do you like your state of California right now? Do you want the United States to look like California
I would love for that to happen. Yes, I love Los Angeles.
with all the homeless people strung out all over, all the druggies?
Yeah, it's got its problems. I'm
All
not.
the
I'm
people
not saying
coming
it's
up over
perfect
the
in LA, but I
border.
like LA.
Oh my God, you're crazy, Chad. You're crazy.
And that also doesn't matter. You're like, look at your state. Gavin Newsom is not a convicted rapist. He is not a convicted felon. Gavin Newsom
Hasn't
is
been
not lying
impeached.
about the.
He'll never be
A million
president
things.
as long as Trump is running, because Kimberly Guilfoyle will rat him out on everything.
Oh yeah, that could be true.
Okay, so you guys don't want him to step down, though. You want Biden to stay in the race, and I agree with you. If he does, I think it's Trump wins.
And-
I don't think
and
Biden has a
lose.
chance.
Yeah.
It's over anyway, but he'll make it a slam dunk.
Yeah. Haley, what are you thinking about as the clock is ticking? Literally every day he doesn't do this, it will be a
Yeah.
worse outcome if he eventually does. Do you think he's going to step down?
So the rumors started swirling, early in the week that he was gonna completely fucking exit this weekend, and I was hopeful. Like you said, it's Sunday and we are midday and it hasn't happened. So I'm still holding out hope because
Yeah.
like you said, Donald Trump is winning. I do think the only shot we have is some fresh-faced fucking politician that just really drives home democracy and America, and that's literally all we need. All we need is that fresh fucking face. The old man is gone, and I think that we have a shot.
I
Because
agree.
Donald Trump is a sack of shit,
Yeah.
and Joe Biden's almost dead. And so if you
I'll
can
tell
just
you
put
one
like
thing.
a
Donald
fucking
Trump.
50-year-old politician
Okay,
that
here we go.
is in politics, knows what they're talking about, can just deliver like a coherent fucking speech for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's all it's gonna take.
I
I'll
agree.
tell you one thing. Donald Trump wouldn't have let those people die at Abbey. If you would have listened to those parents speak that night at the convention, you would have hated Biden 115 more times.
I hate Biden already. So
Okay.
here's the thing about I think that a lot of people, yourselves included, mom and dad, view this upcoming election as Trump versus whoever the Democratic nominee is. It's not that. This election is the Democratic nominee versus the Democratic electorate. That person just has to get enough Democrats to come out to vote for them, and they win. No one is trying to get Trump voters. No Democratic nominee. No Democratic nominee is trying to get Trump voters to change their mind. That won't happen. Trump has a fixed number of voters. He has had that.
To change the Democratic minds, and they've already lost half of them.
That's what I'm saying. Trump has his fixed amount of voters. He's going to have that same turnout basically every year.
He's got more Democrats now than he ever has had.
No, it's just Democrats won't fucking vote.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Democrats who have been disenfranchised and don't like the option.
We're not arguing today.
Basically, Biden has a bunch. What?
We're not arguing today.
I love everybody.
He loves everybody.
He's quitting now. He's quitting the show. Well, he made it almost an hour. It's pretty good. All right. I love you too, Dad. Have a good nap.
Wait. I didn't get to do my ditties.
Hang on a minute. I'm not done yet. Then you can do your ditties. Okay. I just want to say that I think the race really is won or lost by the Democratic nominee, whoever that's going to be, and their ability to energize the Democratic electorate to come out and vote. Right now, Biden is not doing that. I think, I don't know, maybe he gets 75% of the people who voted for him the first time, but I think 25% of them, these are just numbers I'm making up, but it feels right. Yeah. I think 25% of them are like, fuck it, I'm not voting. This is it's a no-win situation.
Are you trying to say if they come up with someone different for a Democratic nominee that you don't think Trump will win?
Correct.
Oh my God. Okay, write that one down.
There are more Democratic and Democratic-leaning voters in the country than there are Republicans.
There aren't.
No.
Yes, there are. Okay, that's why Democrats have won the popular election every year since George Bush Jr.
I would also argue that, I would argue that we know that Republican is not synonymous with Majah. So, like, you've got MAGA, but you also have rational thinking, people who are willing to vote for a Democrat just to maintain democracy.
Yeah,
they're wishing in one hand and shitting in the other.
Oh,
what I would do is I would steal
wishing in one hand and shitting in the other.
I would steal Trump's slogan and I would say, "I'm here to make America great again," and that means to go back to a time before Donald Trump, when politics made sense and people could reach across the aisle to get legislation done, even though we come from different political ideologies. That's when America was great. So yes, I agree. Let's make America great again. And vote Donald Trump out of the American political system, because a vote against him this time is it. He never comes back.
You're crazy. You're all crazy. Okay, my ditties. Indrid, I think her name is, that's the way you say it. The one that was drunk, Andress, the one that was drunk.
The singer who did the national anthem? Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
She's an alcoholic. Like, she checked into rehab. You can't.
Yeah, she's in rehab. Thank God.
It was great, though. I did see a comment on it, or a tweet or something. Somebody said it's been a bad week for ears in America.
She was bad. Okay, R.I.P. We didn't bring these people up.
It's
poor
sad.
Richard Simmons passed away, and so did
I didn't see that.
Shannon Doherty. And who was the commentator that you love? Bob Newhart. But there was another one. on
Not
Trump's
a commentator. He's a
Trump
news guy, Lou Dobbs.
Lou Dobbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to those people. Yeah.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Into the future.
Those are your ditties?
That was it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed my mom's ditties. The stories of my dad. He did sit on a woman, by the way, in a movie theater. I know that happened. You have told me this story.
I can dream about it tonight.
But we're heating up here as we're getting closer and closer to the election, and maybe we'll see Biden stepping down this week, and maybe we can talk about that next week. But thanks for joining us. And again, if you have a question, just record it in a 1 minute or shorter audio or video format and email it to the necessaryconversationpod@gmail.com. Before we go, as always, Haley, I love you. Mom, I love you. Dad, despite your anger and rage, I love you too.
Mom, I love you.
Oh, go ahead.
Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. Chad, I love you.
Chad, Haley, Bob, I love you. This wasn't too bad. I told Dad we weren't going to fight. We didn't fight much.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.